Get your phone nice and elaborate. Y'all come on around here and learn something. Hey, you finish that up. Put that on there, Ricky. Put that on the other side over there. See, in my day, a barber was more than just somebody who sit around in a FUBU shirt with his drawers hanging all out. In my day, a barber was a counselor. He was a fashion expert. He style coach, pimp, just general all-around hustler. But the problem with y'all cats today is that you got no skill, no sense of history. And then, with a straight face, got the nerve to want to be somebody, want somebody to respect you. But it take respect to get respect. Understand?
Looking at Tony, I mean, he's always had a very professional establishment. You know, he didn't have the type of shop where you could just do anything or, you know, anything crazy anyway. He always carried himself professional, so he made you want to respect, you know, him and his establishment, you know, and he made sure his staff was the same way. So everybody at Tony Toppers was always, you know, very respectable, and you know, they were always kind, you know, and they did good work. And looking at that as a blueprint, when I started my business, you know, I definitely wanted to keep a professional environment. You know, I always wanted to make people feel comfortable, you know, feel like they were at home, but at the same time, you know, upholding a standard that, you know, I'm going to respect you and you're going to respect me.
So I'm sitting here with Ron Moore, son of legendary barber Tony Moore. Hey, Ron, how long has your father been cutting hair, man?
I've been cutting hair about over 55 years. We celebrated 55-year anniversary back in about 2014.
When did he open his first barbershop in Williamsburg?
I think it was back in about about 1965. He started at Crump's Barbershop, and then he opened up his first barbershop in about 65 and 70s, and he opened up named the Golden Key Barbershop up in the middle of Williamsburg, which now is called the Martin Luther King Square Triangle.
Tony Moore was one of the first entrepreneurs I ever met. He was always encouraging people to go into business for themselves and to strive to be the best individual that they could be.
If it wasn't for Tony, you know, that this wouldn't be about. A lot of barbershops around here, it had to filter through Tony. No ifs, ands, or buts. You know what I'm saying? Because Tony trained me, and whether or not I train somebody else, it's still Tony's training.
Sugar Ray Robinson, the greatest fighter ever lived.
Oh, come on, man. What about Joe Louis?
The Blonde Bomber. Now that was a great boxer.
You damn right.
I suppose nobody in here ever heard of Cassius Clay.
We got a point. Cassius Clay was a bad mother.
Barbershops have always been one of those places where there wasn't any subject or topic that was off limits. You hear people discuss anything from religion and politics all the way up into who got knocked out in a good fight. Barbershops was just that place where nothing at all was off limits.
You know, sometimes, you know, I was talking with an 18-year-old the other day, and I asked him, I said, what's up with the generation now? He was 18.
I grew up in Tony's Toppers. My first haircut was at the shop on Queens Creek Road next to Terrace Groceries in a trailer. I've always grown, always stayed in the barbershop. Ron gave me my first haircut in the shop. Being a neighbor, a child in the neighborhood in Springfield Terrace where Mr. Moore lived, he always impacted. He always had a word for you. He always made sure you were doing right. And if you weren't doing right, he'll correct you anywhere. Barbershop, middle of the street, school, anywhere. So just like most older people in this community, they raised us.
So, Richard, how many years you been cutting hair now?
This coming April, 29 years.
What made you decide to become a barber?
I love it. I always want to be a barber. I like messing with hair, cutting hair, you know. It's a good occupation. Something I love doing.
So, Ricky, how many years you been cutting hair now?
12 years.
12
years. 12 years.
What made you decide to become a barber?
It was more of like a whim for me. I was sitting on my grandma's couch, I was like, I need to do something in my life. So I thought about things I thought I would like to do. So I started calling different barbershops.
So what was the first barbershop that you worked in?
Sheer Perfection.
Okay.
In Gloucester.
And then from there, you made your way to Williamsburg to start cutting hair?
That's right. You know, Richmond, came back to Williamsburg.
So once you made that transition to a barber, did you ever think about any other profession, or you knew that was it for you?
I was thinking about being a doctor, but that was it.
Okay.
What's up? You're watching Bigg with TV. I'm David Cohn. I'm a William Mary basketball player. You ever in Williamsburg, you need a fresh cut, whether it's for a game or anything, just trying to look good. Come to see Richard at R&R.
Whenever I'm out on the road and I'm traveling and I forgot my clippers and can't cut my own hair, let's say, I got a show coming up and, boom, just got into town, like, what am I going to do? If I don't got my own barber with me on my own clippers, like I said, trying to find the right barbershop can be a hard thing to do. You can't judge a book by its cover, and you can't judge a barbershop by how it appears on the outside. So, some of the things that I look for in a barber are attention to detail, their comfort level, and them listening. Because, you first sit in that chair, they're like, so what can I do for you? So the fear that you have, you say, well, I just, want to know the faded on the sides and it's a little off the top and, line me up. That's been a nightmare for me before, because you got some barbers who cut your hair how they want their hair cut. They don't cut your hair to the shape of your head. They don't cut your be honest, I had a good feel when I walked in there, man. And Louis DeVino, and he sat down, he looked at my hair, and automatically the first things he said, he pulled out the mirror, he was like, I just want to show you where your natural hairline is supposed to be. I know other barbers, may not show you this or whatever. I was like, I'm glad that you showed me this, because little did Louis know is that I got an extensive background with barber, beauty and stylist, and see him pay attention to detail and know what my hairline was supposed to be was incredible. So he began to cut my hair, faded it up. He was like, He's like, next time you come in here, I'm gonna show you, your next haircut is gonna be even better. So now when I go anywhere, I compare every barbershop to Tony's, because it was Tony's that set the foundation for what I think about barbershops. That's right, a barbershop and a studio all in one. I never thought that I would live to see, a creation of such, but I mean, it definitely is a compliment. Instead of people lounging in the lounge, waiting to, for studio time, they can get that fresh lineup, that fresh fade. They got braider on site, so many different things. I really like the way that the future of barbershops is looking and the direction that they're heading into. And for this, I'd like to thank Mr. Tony Moore.
It gives me great pleasure to honor a man like Tony Moore of Tony Toppers. Because too often, we want to recognize somebody, acknowledge them for something great that they did, after they passed away. But it's a great pleasure to actually honor Mr. Moore, while he's still alive, because he's definitely been a trailblazer, and then he stood the test of time, because for me, I've known of 30 years, that's a long time, and I'm quite sure he's been in business before I met him. So he had well over 30 years in the business. So I mean, and it's so many barbershops and beauty salons in Williamsburg that branched out, because they had that start at Tony Toppers. There was a lot of other, I'm quite sure I'm not the only entrepreneur or business person that have seen Mr. Moore and been inspired to say, okay, you know what, I can have my own business too. So I definitely, it's a great pleasure to honor Mr. Moore.
See, I'm old, but Lord willing, I'd be spared the sight of seeing everything that we had worked it for flushed down the drain by someone who don't know no better.